Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Physical Challenge podcast. I'm Eddie, and I'm here with my two co-hosts, Mehdi and Joshua. So, on this podcast, we're going to be talking about game shows, anything in the world of game shows, whether it's reality competition shows, fan-made versions of your favorite game shows and reality shows, and more. So, right now, I just want to introduce our two co-hosts, and I want you guys to tell a little bit about like how we met and what are some of your favorite shows and maybe some shows that you're watching right now. So we'll start with Joshua.
Okay, so hello, my name is Joshua Felix. As you can tell from my accent, I am from the UK. I live in London. So I play a lot of online games. That is how I met Eddie, through the games based on reality shows, some of which we'll be discussing in future episodes of this podcast. I am a big game show and reality show person. I've been a huge fan of them since I was a young child. And here in the UK, we've got some really fun examples, and I'm so excited to talk about some of them. One of them we're going to be talking about next week. The other two don't know what show it's going to be, but I'm excited to hear what they think about the concept.
Okay, and Mehdi?
Hi, I'm Mehdi. I don't have an exciting intro. I'm not from anywhere fancy like Josh.
Oh, you're not from the same place as us, so...
Yeah, but okay. Well, we met in the same place, but I'm not from London, England. I ain't from somewhere real fancy. I'm from the boonies, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I know Josh and Eddie through the same thing, reality gaming, through mostly Twitter, honestly. Through the pandemic, I didn't have a lot of people to talk about reality TV or any of that stuff with, so I went online and kind of reached out and made a couple friends along the way. And I'm really excited about this because I would love to get my opinions on reality TV out there, especially game shows, because I'm quite an opinionated person. And I just don't like to keep that stuff bottled up or give it to family members that don't really care for the conversation as much. So I'm here to give you strong opinions about all these crazy game shows we're going to watch. Back to you, Eddie.
Okay, so I'm Eddie. I'm from Houston, Texas, United States, and like these other two said, we basically all met through the online gaming community. I still have not yet to play a game, but that's another story. I'm sure Mehdi can tell you a lot about that. And I've been into game shows also from a very young age. I remember like going to my grandparents' house and just like early in the morning sometimes and like just watching a match game. So that was like probably one of my first game shows I watched, and then my mom got me like into Big Brother. So ever since then, I've been like on the part of like the gaming world. Yeah. I also had the opportunity to meet Mehdi in person for the first time last May at an event for Rob Has a Podcast. So we're like us two are like the only ones out of all three of us that have met in person. So that's kind of like an interesting fun fact.
An interesting fun fact to isolate me is what I'm hearing.
Oh my God!
You didn't have to call him out so early, Josh.
If that's how you want to take it, then
Joshua had a couple of comments about our heights, so you know.
That meetup was so funny. I remember especially because it was a picture. I think Eddie took a picture. Was it of you and JD together?
Yeah, we were sitting in the hotel room, and you just had to come for our heights.
I don't even remember the part about him coming for our heights. I just remember like the uproar of that picture.
You know I have to remember that. Anyone comes for my height.
That picture was great. I did love that picture.
I don't even know if I like still have it. It's somewhere. I know it's somewhere. Probably like in the bowels of Twitter or something.
We will go back and we will go look for it at some point. It'll be worth going to find.
Yeah. So I think that's it for now. We just wanted to have like a little preview introduction episode for you to get to know all of us, and then
I mean, there
Oh.
are a couple of things in the reality TV world I would love to talk about, though.
Oh,
Right
let's
now?
go. I'm in.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely. So first things first,
Okay.
are the two of you watching Australian Survivor currently?
Currently, I have missed the last 2 seasons of Australian Survivor. All Stars kind of wore me out. I was kind of bored of the premise of the show. Got really redundant, and like the editing really messed with me. I kind of just, I don't know. I was very turned off from the show like 2 seasons ago, so I haven't checked it out since. But how's this season going?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I gave up after the first episode as well. But there are two specific things that I would like to talk about. Firstly, in the first episode of the season,
Yeah, I think I know what you're gonna say.
The comment made by Rogue.
Yeah, that's like the one. Like, I don't watch Australian Survivor, and I mean, people like I know people have been talking about it, and even like one of my Discords, like they were watching it earlier today. But that's like the one thing that I know because I saw it all over Twitter. It was like this comment that I don't remember what's her name again.
Rogue.
Her Rogue. So I
Yeah,
saw
that she made the comment that she made to Nina. That's like the only thing I know of this whole season. Now.
What is the context of the clip? Like, I'm like, is it? It sounds so ridiculous when I'm watching it that I'm like, there must be more to this. This isn't just.
No.
It sounds like it was like I saw it. I'm like, and I showed my partner this, and she's like, no, she did not say this on TV. And I'm like, no, she said it on TV. So it was.
The funniest thing about it to me is, so prior to the episode, a friend says Rogue makes a really weird comment this episode, and I thought she'd already made the comment before she even said this. So like in like 30 seconds before this in the episode, she is holding a machete and she asks one of the men, "Are you circumcised?" And then when he says no, proceeds to say, "Would you like to be?"
Oh my god. I just can't get over the fact that her name is like Rogue. Like, who named it?
And then Nina explains where she's from in the US and explains like where she's geographically, and it makes sense Nina would want to give a simplified explanation to it, considering she's living with all Australians, and this is not her first time doing this, so she knows the Australians don't know a lot about the US geography. And Nina tells Rogue, Rogue says to Nina that Nina does not need to explain to her like she's a child because Rogue has lived in the US a lot. And then in the next seconds later is Rogue telling Nina, "I'm actually more African American than you are," and that just was like, I was stunned.
She lives in South Africa. Like, what is she trying to say? That's like, I'm like, what's the? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Like in any like I cannot like.
No, she's like,
I can't grab the like, vision,
okay.
or I can't. Yeah, I can't even think of like what you could mean by that, like in any context.
So in Rogue's introduction, she introduces herself like when they stood in the circle at the tribe. She introduced herself as American. I don't remember the exact order: Australian, New Zealander, American, and African. Like, which firstly, for them first to list 3 things and then suddenly a continent as the 4th thing is very wild to me. Like just Africa just as a monolith. Secondly, I think she like lived in Africa for like a short period of time. Definitely not enough for her to claim all 4 of these things.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But then to go up to Nina, Nina did not make a comment about being African American. Rogue just said this. There was no prompt for her to make this comment.
Yeah, in the context, they weren't talking. Yeah, from the clip, didn't seem like they were talking about anything of that sort. And she just came at her, and I like the way she responded. It's like, I would be shocked. Like anyone saying that, like that's coming for her race. You're saying you're more African than her, which makes no sense. So like the poise that she had not up on her right there is.
I'm kind of glad that like we actually got this like in an episode, because I feel like any other time it would just be like retells of like the story of like people from the cast being like, oh well, this happened, but like we don't really know like the whole context of it. It's like, no, like they presented this. What was this, like the first like 10 minutes of the episode or something?
It was in like the it was the portion of the tribe when they were getting to know each other, but it was just so there are numerous ridiculous things that happen, and she's just horrific. She's bad enough where, so spoiler alert for episode 4. So I've not seen this episode, but someone who is coming back on the show as a winner of the show, so has a huge target on her back, is willing to throw the challenge to get her voted out. Like that's how unliked she is. That the heroes tribe throws a challenge to vote her out.
I don't know if she's gonna be a hero much after that.
Can I talk candidly about Australian Survivor? Something that just kind of irks me about the format of the show. I really don't like they put so much onus on the challenges, and like that's, I know some people like that, but that's like the part of Survivor that like I'll skip to like I'll skip entirely. Like it's like, oh, it's cool, they're doing this physical stuff, and like I've seen this guy's butt a million times, and like I get it. Like I don't know if this is like Aussie humor, but like I mean I've seen it enough. I don't need to see it like every like episode. It's kind of frustrating.
And they'll put all this focus on challenges for them to have like ridiculous prizes. Oh, I have to tell you about the rewards from this last episode. I have to. So I'm going to tell you the reward, and I want you to guess the catch. So the exact reward was the exact rewards was a pizza party.
Okay.
Mehdi, what do you think the catch was?
A pizza party. Is it did the pizza sit out for like an hour? Like what's the no? The catch, is it the catch in the challenge or is the catch in the reward?
The catch is in the rewards.
Do they have like a minute to eat it? What is it?
They were given frozen pizzas with no way of cooking them.
Ew! They have to leave it out. That's so gross. Is that sanitary? Was that how
it was probably wrapped? Okay, like you know, like if you go to the store and it's like a wrapped pizza frozen.
How long do you think that's gonna cook? How long do you think? How long do you think that's gonna take to like? I guess they could boil water, but like and try to like and put something over it and get the steam to cook it.
It's Survivor. You have to make a fire.
But like it was very much like it was intentional. It wasn't like the producers just didn't realize the pizzas weren't cooked. It was very evidently the producers just chose to give them frozen pizza.
That's not a reward.
Do you know how angry I'd be? Apparently, I think there was an idol clue hidden in one of the pizza boxes. I don't care. Like I do not care.
Oh my, that is actually very funny. What the heck? I would never think they'd do that because the pizza on Survivor has always been described as, oh, the pizza's really bad in Survivor. The pizza's really bad in Survivor. Now you're just giving us, what are they getting? Delissio pizzas, some DiGiorno pizzas, and just getting for them. I feel like it's like they're trying to save budgets on a chef. Like
I cannot express how annoyed I would be. I cannot explain how irritated I'd be. I would just be I would look straight at a producer and be like, "Are you kidding me?" I'd be telling my tribe, we are going on strike. We're not saying a single word. We are sitting in silence till they rectify the situation.
You think they can negotiate the frozen pizza for like rice? I'd rather eat rice than frozen pizza.
I'd be like, just go cook them. We don't need better pizzas. Just cook what we already won, please.
I think I know what won't be a reward on Survivor Game UK.
Imagine, no, I literally after the episode DM'd Rob like, are we gonna do this?
That's something Rob would definitely do.
Frozen pizza.
Speaking of like, I said that was the only thing of Australian Survivor that I heard like about the season, but I lied because Mehdi brought something up about seeing butts, and like that's the other thing I've seen. It was like this clip on Twitter, and it was like, I watched Survivor for the pod, and it was basically like, I don't know the guy's names or whatever, but it was one guy, and he was like, oh, I hid the idol, or I hid an idol clue like in my butt crack, and he was like, I want to see it, or can I feel it or whatever.
Yeah,
that clip was funny.
Oh my god,
I thought that clip was funny. I've never seen that before, so I was like, oh, interesting.
That was, if I remember correctly, that was between Simon and Geordie, and when I watched that moment, I was just like, why are we doing this? Like, why? It's so.
There's a lot of male fan service on Australian Survivor.
For something which, well, by the way, that might not actually be an idol, is the thing.
Oh
my god.
Australian Survivor is a car crash.
It's. What do you guys think? Just real quick. So, if you guys read any of the press for Survivor 44, the mechanism in which they're hiding the idols, what do you guys think of that? Like, that it's going to be like in a cage?
I haven't like read anything like more recent. The only thing that I know about that is that like I read it when like the spoilers or whatever first came out about it. Like when
for the cast and stuff and the premise, yeah.
Or like when Redmond first like released that information about the cage, but I don't know anything much about it, honestly.
No, but like, how would you play that? That is very interesting to me. How anyone would grab it.
I think it sounds so cool, especially because did you read about the fact that there's going to be two things? So when you open it, there's going to be two idols in the cage. There's going to be a real one and a fake one.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
So you can get, so if I remember correctly, so you'll be able to take the real one and then plant the fake one back, so that if someone else opens it afterwards, they'll think they have a real idol. In reality, they don't.
As a so as a tribe, wouldn't you like after a couple days, or like wouldn't you like do it kind of? Oh, I guess you can't do that. Like every day, wouldn't you kind of just open it as a tribe to see if it's fake or real at that point?
But then, so I guess the problem is, so they don't know that there's a fake one.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the first person to get it would be able to do it by surprise. But also, it sounds like I think they're going to have to find a clue to open the cage. I'm assuming they'll find a beware advantage and they'll say you've got to open the idol cage and you don't get your vote back till you open it. Will be my assumption.
Yeah, when you said idol cage, my first thought was like the clue was in the cage, so I don't know like the logistical part of it.
You know what would be cool? If they okay, let's say you get the clue. Let's say it's a beware advantage, but it's like let's say it's one for like it's the same key for every tribe's like idol thing.
Mm-hmm.
So then if like they do a thing like they did in Survivor China where they steal a tribe member for a day, or like they do something like that, the other person can have an opportunity to steal that idol. They're probably not going to have like a lot of room to do it, but like it still gives like it gives more of a dynamic for like a tribe that's shorthanded into the merge to have like one or two idols.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting premise. I enjoyed this twist. I didn't really enjoy I was over the beware advantage after like season 42, like 43, I think.
What about the hourglass?
I hate the hourglass. Oh my goodness. It's such a what I hate. It negates all the work. Why even do the challenge at that point? Like, I don't like challenges, but like it's kind of like I agree with Danny from season 41, where it's like I did all this work and y'all are just gonna reverse over. Like it doesn't make sense.
I would be fuming. I'd be looking. It's another one of those. I'd look straight at a producer, and be like, "Are you actually okay? Are you actually like?" I don't know how I would respond to that. I would not be very happy. I know if a mini did it, I would quit. I would be like, I'm not doing goodbye. Have a good rest of your day.
If we have with 41, that's annoys me. If they had the like, if they knew like some of the mechanics of how it was going to work, I'd be all right with it. But like, it just I get it's the first season they're doing it, but they just went in blind. And it's kind of like you're kind of lying to the contestants at that point. And I'm like, I don't like when production lies to the contestants.
Oh, they straight up lied to them. They told them they would be safe, and then they weren't safe.
I don't know. I for some reason I kind of like the mechanism of like, oh, you thought you were safe, but you're not. But I think the way that they went about it was like not the right way to do it.
But they should like
the right way
somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. That's another thing. It's like I don't know. It's kind. I mean, that's obviously what they wanted. Was like the shock factor of like you thought you were safe, but you weren't. Because like that's as a like person coming from like the minis and all that. Like I could see that somebody doing that like in a mini. Like
but as a host. The thing is with minis, there's no stakes. There's nothing really on the line. There's a significant amount of money here, and people are taking times off their lives, and like this is a commitment to go on one of these shows, and for them to just like pull the rug under you is kind of like I'd find it as a contestant like quite frustrating, and I complained about it a lot. So like I don't know, I don't like it in that aspect.
Yeah, if someone earns safety. I don't want that to be. I do like if production like messes around with people's expectations, but if someone is categorically told you are safe, they should be safe.
Yeah, that's there should be some fine print somewhere. Like I don't know, they're begging for a lawsuit at some point. To be honest.
Yeah, because their excuse could be like, oh, it's always a twist, and you know there's gonna be twists. And it's like, well, that's like a game-breaking twist, honestly.
There's one more thing I want to talk about. You guys both watch BB Can, correct?
Yes.
Want to do some All-Star speculation real quick? Who you guys?
Oh, yes.
I feel like I'm tired of All-Stars. Like in terms of like, I get it. It's been a while since they like when they bring people back. Season 5 is the last time they brought people back. But I feel like Canada, like I think we need more of new people, like to have a like influx of people to like cast an All-Stars cast. Because what are we going to be pulling? We're just going to be pulling people from old All-Star casts. And then that's going to like, it gets redundant at some point. But what do you guys think?
Go ahead,
Go
Lane.
ahead. So I think, like, of course we have this every year, but like, it's going to be All-Stars. And I'm not sure. I don't know. I always think that, like, since they did like half and half on BB 5, that always like diminishes the pool, because I feel like a lot of those people could have been like on an All-Star cast, but that wasn't technically an All-Star cast. But yeah, I've only seen, like, honestly, I've only seen since Big Brother Canada 4, so I don't have the extent of knowing like every single person that's ever been on BB Can. But yeah, I feel like
I'm sorry,
BBU I feel like BBUS might have to lean more on like an All-Star kind of thing, because they've done a lot. But like, I trust BB Can enough to be able to like not only cast the right people, but have the theming and all that being on point. So I don't feel like they are as dependent on having like an All-Star season, like, to have ratings or anything like that. So I think they could still honestly maybe wait a little bit longer.
I mean, so I'm not entirely opposed to it. I feel like this is the earliest they can swing it where I'm not annoyed. Like, if BB Can 10 was All-Stars, it would have felt too soon. I think this is, I'd rather than wait another season, I can live with it happening now. I think there's a strong enough pool of people, because I think Big Brother Canada players in general are stronger and have more personality. Like, I can get a cast I'm excited from, whereas if you look at the last 10 seasons of US, you're not making an All-Stars cast I'm excited about out of those people. Even if I could hand pick who was chosen for BBUS, I can't pick 16 people I want to see back. Especially 8 men from Big Brother US and from the past 10 years.
I guess a bigger casting pool doesn't always mean more quality casting, if that's what you're trying to say to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, the thing about it is like, how many people are you going to have actually returning a third time? That's my issue. Like, who you?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
We're going to say like up for like, I think Aika would return, but with all due respect, I don't think Aika would do as good on this because she has a reputation of 5.
I don't want to see Aika back.
You do?
I want to see Aika come back to host the competition. I do not want to see Aika playing. See,
I just think her gameplay is not going to work. Like, I'm going to say a second time, because if you watch Aika the first game, it wasn't the same player. So
Aika 1 and Aika 2.0.
Would you bring people from 5, but like the newbies from like season 5, like a Dimitris or someone like that, like, because he's learned, even though he's mostly challenges, he has learned from Aika, so like he could excel that way. But like,
I mean, the big one to me there is Karen. Actually, wait,
absolutely.
Has Karen been problematic? Let me think. I don't think she has.
She's very entertaining.
It's funny you say has she been problematic, because I feel like I saw something kind of. I didn't see anything firsthand, but I feel like someone said that like, oh, she did one thing that was like something to like take a look at, but I didn't really see a lot of a concrete anything on it, and it kind of just went away. So
I'm gonna say something. I don't know if you guys are gonna come at me for it. I kind of want to see more problematic people on TV.
I mean, how are we defining problematic here?
Like, yeah, you're right. We do got to define it. But like, what do you guys mean by problematic? I mean, I don't mean someone that's like a bigot or anything. Like, I just want someone that's like bombastic, like in your face, like really opinionated. Like,
that I want to see.
Like, I want,
not bigoted. If
the audience hates them, that's better for me. Like, I want to see people I hate on TV. I don't want to see everyone being a good guy.
And
I want to see. Go ahead.
I'll just say it's not limited to like bigotry either. I know Josh will say something about this person. I'm gonna say, he knows this person. I'm gonna say is someone like a Stephen Bear type. Like, we don't need to see them on TV.
Yes,
that's the kind of person that's like problematic. Like somebody who's like he literally like has been criminally charged on things he's done.
Yeah. I get those. Those have been he's criminally charged. I get that, but I mean more of the people that like just have like.
I think
they aren't good people. I think like they're just.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between problematic and just like off color or controversial. Like,
but it's
like if you were banned from a show, like if you were like hypothetically banned from a show, then you don't need to come back. Like, there's a reason for that.
The question is like, is problematic subjective? Because some people might be like, oh, this person's problematic, and then it's like, oh, you look up what they did, and you're like, oh, yeah, they're not the best person, but I'm like, I still would like to hate them on TV. Like, yeah, that's all I have to say on that subject. Because I don't know who from BB Can is technically canceled per se. Because I'm not like in the weeds with that.
I can't think in terms of people that actually care to see back. That's the thing. There's some people that probably are just like, well, I don't want to see them anyway.
Who? Because the males, we could pick out a couple people we would like to. Would you guys like to see Netta again?
No.
Yeah,
More so because I just don't think she would. I enjoy Neda's television. Bring Neda back on something. I just don't think this would. I don't think she would do well. I don't want to put her in a situation where she's set up to fail.
Do you think like she might not have like any more to offer?
I don't know. Neda for the Traitors Canada.
Oh yeah, that's something else I was gonna mention was the Traitors, but I don't know if y'all wanna.
I haven't watched the Traitors. What do you guys think of the premise of the show? Because I was gonna watch the UK version. It gets pulled from YouTube, and I did not watch the UK version.
I could spend an entire I feel like this is the Traitors show we need to talk about at some stage, because I could spend an entire episode talking about this show.
Yeah, I probably would.
The UK one and the US one, or do you like? How would you want to do that?
I would say UK and US. I've not seen Australia, but I do plan on watching Australia as well, because it'll be interesting to compare them.
Yeah, I'm currently. I haven't watched in a couple of days, but I'm currently in the middle of Australia, and I'm embarrassed to admit how much time I tried to find like España, the Spain version, because that just came out like 2 days ago, and I was like scouring the internet trying to find. I did find it last night with no subtitles yet, but yeah, I'm embarrassed to admit how long I tried to find that the last 3 days.
The way I didn't even know the Traitors España even happened, I literally had no idea.
Yeah, it just premiered on HBO Max Spain, and my VPN is not doing what it's supposed to do, but that's another story.
How would you even get HBO Max Spain? VPN? Like, otherwise, I don't know how it works.
Yes, somebody like said that they found it, that they used a VPN and they found it and it had English subtitles, but I couldn't do the same thing, so.
That wouldn't make sense, because when you do, like, for example, if you have a VPN and you want to watch, let's say, Netflix, like, country, they usually won't provide you with the titles, like subtitles of English, because the show is made in that language. So they'll only give usually that subtitle or a subtitle of a country near it. So yeah, I doubt probably have English subtitles unless it's fan dubbed or fan subbed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's only been a couple of days, so maybe it'll come out later.
So wait, do you guys like the premise of the Traitors? Just real quick, just like aside.
Good TV, bad game to be a contestant on.
I like good TV though, so I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. It's good. It's good. It's a very broken game, but it's good television.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what? Also, I think we can do just another side about what we could actually podcast about as well. Is that we could actually do a thing where we could like name shows that like are better as TV shows, but at actual games are like pretty mediocre or bottom of the barrel, and then like we could actually do suggestions on how to improve them. I
like that, yes, because there's some shows that could use a good chunk of improvement.
Exactly,
like the Traitors.
Josh, do you want to? So are we going to line up what we're going to talk next week?
Yes. So next week we are going to talk about a British game show that got, I think, 4 series. It's a show that I love. A couple of you may have heard of it. Have you heard of a show before called Release the Hounds?
Ooh, I have heard of it.
I have, but I think, did you mention it on Twitter maybe?
I think I've mentioned it once or twice before on Twitter. Release the Hounds is a British game show, and it is one of the best British game shows that was ever produced. And it's the type of show that Netflix would love.
It's to me. Oh, go ahead, Mehdi.
I've just seen clips of a couple of it on YouTube. It's an interesting show. I don't know how people just sign up for this type of show. It seems pretty wild.
I don't know anything about it, but the first thing to me that comes to mind, like similarly, it sounds like Hunted to me. But I don't know.
I think it's simpler than Hunted.
Hunted, but I would say scarier than Hunted.
There's also like these shows where you have to like evade capture for money. That's what it kind of sounds like to me.
I mean, imagine, but I mean, I will say it is about evading capture, but not from people.
Oh,
I think this is better saved. I want Lone's first reactions.
Yes.
Better saved for the next pod, because I feel like if you watch the first episode and then you're gonna see some interesting stuff. Maybe we can discuss the strategy of that show.
It's so good.
No, but I like that choice. I've always wanted to get into that show. So
is it on YouTube or?
We'll find. There'll be at least one episode somewhere. We'll find an episode of the show for you to watch.
Okay.
Okay, so I think that's pretty good for our intro episode, guys. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so too.
I agree as well.
Okay. So let's just say where everyone can find us. I'm on Twitter at Lone Ranger 158. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Physical Chal CHAL Pod, and you can use that to that'll be where we promote the podcast, and you can send in questions, thoughts, just tell us what you generally think about the podcast. What about you, Joshua?
You can follow me on Twitter at JoshieFLX. That is JoshieFLX. You can also find some of my games that I host online at Amnesty Series. And I'm also hosting a live game that's coming up later this year. So if you want any information on that, you can follow us there at Survivor Game UK.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Aljabiri23. That would be my last name. And other than that, I'm hoping questions about this intro episode. I think we talked a lot. We had you can see where some of us are pretty opinionated around here. So let's see if we can get some debates going, some arguments. That's always fun. And throw it to Lone to end the podcast.
Yeah, one more Twitter to plug. I guess I'll plug Mini Game Network. If you want to play any of these games that like we've been talking about, how we met each other, that's Mini Game Net on Twitter. Yeah, I have way too many Twitters. That's a whole nother story. I have probably maybe you can probably count on two hands the amount of Twitters I have, but that's another story. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up for here now on the intro or preview podcast. So be sure to check us out next week, where we're gonna talk about Release the Hounds. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.